Let's talk about those new premium collection cards. Now, I will say I have missed a few from the last week, so I will be going over those as well. If you don't want my opinion on those, just skip ahead. I will be going over the ones we just saw, which is Tachikaze, and also I believe the Gear Chronicle one from Eric yesterday. But let's go over these cards one by one. Starting off with the OTT Stride, Dragon King of Good Fortunes. It says act on V once per turn, cost, turn a card from your G-Zone face up, reveal a number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone +2. Call all the revealed normal units to R, add all the trigger units revealed to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Then activate the effects of all revealed triggers. So this is basically a check a bunch, +2 field, +2 hand, activate trigger effect. So really powerful stuff. Also very happy that it's not a counterblast, because all of the OTT strides that are relevant are counterblasts, and so they sometimes run into issues. This one will not have that happen. Now the first thing people started screeching about on Vanguard is, whoa, the over trigger. The odds of over triggering are so high. Wow, you flip this and you look for the over trigger and that's it. I don't think people fully understand what the problem is with over triggers when this is what they complain about. The issue of an over trigger isn't the controlled activation of 100 million power once at a specific moment and then just swinging with it. And then I saw people going, oh, just draw the out, bro. They started like using the arguments that properly address the issue with over triggers and then started like misusing them in contexts where they make no sense. The issue with over triggers is the unplanned random ending of the game. So if I'm going for my push turn, everything else being equal, regular triggers and so forth, I go for my push turn. I do an incredible big combo and they over trigger, and like this turn I would have won, and now that one trigger randomly made me lose. That is an issue, because a lot of big turns in premium can play through triggers, and so getting to that turn is a very important skillful part of the game. If you then randomly just shut that turn down, you basically flip the game. Like, it's literally game flipping like that. Now, this stride isn't like that. It doesn't randomly flip the game. Beyond literally your opponent not having a single PG whatsoever, but let's be real, if you did not have a single PG against OTT, you were dying to Ichikishima and Momo anyway. So the issue isn't not having a single PG. The issue is randomly ending or flipping games. And this card doesn't do that. If there was a card that says flip an over trigger, but it's a Vanguard stride, that card would be pretty shit. I know it's weird to think about, but literally, print right now a stride in premium collection, and you stride it, and its only effect is activate the over trigger. Sometimes it would see play, obviously, but it wouldn't be game breaking, because you suddenly take away the biggest issue of the over trigger, the just random activation on top of other turns. This card wouldn't have much of a turn beyond it either. So while obviously if you hit the OT on this, it'll be strong, it is not a game plan. I would be way more afraid of an Ichikishima randomly checking an OT than this thing purposefully checking one. And it's not even that purposeful, because it doesn't, it seeks deep through the deck, but not that deep either. So yeah, people were going crazy over, in my opinion, nothing. Is this a good OTT stride? Absolutely, they'll gladly use it. Will it sometimes check an OT? Yes, absolutely. But that is really not like where the issues in OTs lie. And this is also why I think people aren't understanding why they are a problem in both formats and not just premium. The thing people often bring up is, oh, in premium you have more drive checks and more deck stacking, so they come up more often and therefore they are a bigger problem in premium. This isn't true. The problem isn't that they are easier to check. The problem is that they completely flip games randomly. It doesn't matter if it comes up 10% of the time or 15% of the time. It matters that it does randomly completely flip games. And that is just a both format issue. Now, if you see this stride and your reaction is we should ban OTs, true, big true, but it's not this stride's fault. Absolutely not. We have the new G Guardian. When put on G, Counterblast 1, declare two numbers from grades 0 to 3, then reveal the top card of your deck. If the revealed card is a grade you declared, add that card to hand, and if you add it, this unit gets shield +15. Definitely a weaker G Guard than what we're used to, though do keep in mind that OTT does have ways to stack the top of their deck, even after their Vanguard attack. with like Amaterasu or even with some of their G Guardians. So they can actually influence this card, but it is not a crazy PG type G Guard as we have seen in the past. Still a strong card in my opinion, just, you know, not as crazy as some of the other ones we have seen. Then we have the DP Stride from Chris. He already did a big explanation for that, so I won't be going too deep into it. Basically, this unit gets power plus 10 for each card in total among your damage zone and rear guards, so this guy gets huge. And then Burst, auto V once per turn. When this unit attacks, cost, turn a card in your G zone phase up. If this unit's power is 50,000 or greater, this unit gets a critical, and if this unit's power is 100,000 or greater, it gets drive plus 2. So there's gonna be a billion drives and huge power and so forth. It has burst, so it works with Linka, so that will be very scary. However, my first thought is that Gallop is still just better very often. I think it's way scarier to have 2 Vanguard swings than to have 1 Vanguard swings with extra drives. But sometimes you'll just be happy that this thing is gonna, you know, swing the way it does and give you a bunch of plus. Next, we have the best G Guardian revealed so far in my opinion. We have Giant Armored Beast Geiragamelgos. When this unit is placed on G, costs Soul Blast 1, which is basically free. Choose up to 2 grade 3 normal units from your drop zone and put them into your hand. Then this unit gets shield plus 5 until end of battle for each card put into your hand. So this is a plot maker dragon in terms of shield size that also gives you 2 grade 3s back to hand. Now, why is this so huge? DP shield, like on grade 3s, is ridiculous. So this card, like you discard a heal, get a plot maker, and then you get back like 25k shields. That is incredibly powerful. So I think DP just gets even more tankier with this, and yeah, I just think it's insane. It's a pot of greed if you think about it, that also is a plot maker on top. It's a discard 1, draw 2, and the draw 2 is 2 specific powerful cards, and it can be ultimate stride fodder. It can be literally anything. Really, really, really powerful G-Guard. Then we have the Stride that Commander Jaime showed at the end of the battle. This unit attacked, counterblast 1, turn a card from your G-Zone turn phase up. You get an imaginary gift Excel. Choose up to the same number of your rear guards as the number of phase up cards in your G-Zone and stand them. Then choose up to one of your rear guards, move it to an open additional R, and it gets 10,000 until end of turn. So it creates an Excel, it restands some cards, and then you move one and give plus 10,000. Overall, this card doesn't feel super threatening in the sense that like Alexandros probably finishes better usually. Valios usually finishes better in terms of like amount of attacks, while Alexandros in terms of size of attacks. And Genbolt plus is better. However, this one does do a little bit of everything. You know, it'll have more attacks, it'll have some extra power, and it'll also create Excels. And making that Excel is also a +1 in terms of draw. So it's doing a little bit of everything. And so in some game situations, you will be happy to have something, you know, a little bit in the middle, let's say, of all those playstyles. Also, interestingly, this opens up the possibility of playing more like G or even over just bosses, because now you can make Excel circles without necessarily riding an Excel boss. I do look forward to that. Maybe we end up seeing like an Order Aqua Force deck because of this. That'd be funny. And then we have this G Guardian. When this unit is put on G, counterblast 1, perform the following depending on which battle of the turn it is. So first battle, choose one of your units and it gets +5 until end of turn. So you're hitting like an old trigger essentially just by using this. And then fourth battle or more, this unit gets plus 20,000 shield. Now, when people first saw this card, they assumed it wasn't that great because fourth battle or more is a pretty tough order. In terms of like how attack patterns are, I think it actually is pretty good, because in premium you have a lot of attacks and they tend to scale in power the longer the turn goes on. Look at like Nightmare Dolls, look at Grand Blue, look at Luard. And so having a G guard that specifically gets ridiculously huge into the like tail end of the multi-attacks is actually pretty good in my opinion. Beyond that, if you're afraid of multi-attacks, again, you're gonna have a 5k for the whole turn if you use it on the first battle. So overall, I do think this G-Guard is very good. I do not think it's as good as the Dimension Police one or some of the other like PG ones we've seen, but it is definitely, I'd say, in the upper middle of the pack. Next, we have the Spike Brothers Stride. Auto on V. When your rear guard attacks, that unit gets power plus 10,000. At the end of that battle, put that unit on the bottom of your deck. This is basically a similar skill to the GB8 of Spikes, which is giving me shivers. And then auto on V. When this unit attacks, cost Soul Blast 1, search your deck for up to 2 grade 2 or lower units, call them to empty rear guards, shuffle your deck, then all of your rear guards get boost until end of turn. I think this card is incredible. I think it is probably one of the stronger strides in this set. The plus 10 just makes it so you have, first of all, much beefier pokes if you're using like the typically beefy cards that Spikes has access to. You can also make your non-impactful pokes suddenly have impact. And then they go back to deck so you don't even lose something from overcalling. And then this looks literally for anything. So this is kind of like the Colombard issue on this card, where if we ever get a card that is absolutely incredibly broken on grade 2 or lower, you automatically are always going to have it forever. So it's like when I say Colombard issue, like remember when Grand Blue became insane because Colombard could search out Zazan? It's basically that. This can search anything as well, unless it's like grade 3. So this will definitely also scale really well into the future because as overdress cards come out, those are going to power creep and we're eventually going to have like some kind of overdress card that is really impactful, really insane, and this guy will just look for 2 of them or something and people are going to cry. Definitely welcome. Also, you know, Agrias kind of has been overstaying his welcome. He wasn't really that impactful for a while now. This card definitely feels like the kind of impact that Spikes needs. And yeah, I think it really helps Spikes. This could easily be in the top 3 strides we've seen so far. Then we have the Spike Brothers G Guardian. When put on G, cost counterblast 1, choose 3 normal units from your drop zone, and this unit gets their combined shield until end of battle. If you chose 1 or more grade 3 units, draw 1. Then put all of the chosen cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. This card is really good. You get to refuel your deck with like things you need. You get to draw 1, which basically like refunds you your cost. And then it also gets huge and you can choose how huge, so you can literally look at the game state and go, okay, right now I need this much, right now I need this much. I think it's a really solid card. Next we have the Gear Stride that Eric showed off. Auto on V, when this unit attacks, bind the front row rear guards and turn a card from your G zone phase up. Choose up to 2 cards from your bind zone, call them to R, and all of your front row units get 10,000 until end of turn. So this makes more of like the battle shenanigans that Gear Chronicle is known for, though I do have to say I do not know the Gear Chronicle card pool that well, so I don't instantly see like a major combo that they're able to pull off because again, like I haven't read Gear Chronicle cards in so long. G-Zone, at the end of the battle, your grade 3 rear guard attacked. If this card is face up, Soul Blast and bind that unit and call this card to R. So this is a little bit of a wink to the Time Leap shenanigans. You basically Time Leap a grade 3 away into this to have 1 more attack. Then we have the G Guardian. When this unit is being put on G, discard 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from hand, and this unit gets plus 20,000 shield. So that's basically like a better Scryu. And then if you discarded cards with the sum of their grades being 6 or greater for this cost, counterblast 1, choose 1 of your units, and it can only hit until end of battle. So when people first saw this card, they were saying it isn't that good. You know, there's some cards that are just way more free, and this one like minuses you. The only thing I would say to that is that, first of all, Gears do have cards that increase grades for discards. It's more Smoke Gear Dragon, and some of them also run like grade 4s, so that means a 4 and a 2 also turns this into a PG. And more importantly though, Gear Chronicle already has one of the most insane G Guardians in the game, and that's Heather Around Dragon. If a specific rear guard needs to be spun for 1 card and like gotten rid of, basically fixed, the deck already has that. What it doesn't have is, oh no, I'm randomly gonna be killed by this huge thing and I can't hit her around, I have no soul, or this is a Vanguard attack or whatever. You know, a bunch of things could be going wrong where hit her around isn't the answer, and this card can randomly be the answer. Will you be paying like a lot for it? Yes, this is a very costly card. CB1, possibly like discard 2 on top of the discard you did for your G-Guard, that's a lot. But I do think the niche situations where it comes up, it is a very welcome card. Whereas if this deck got like a G-Guard that gains just 15k shield very easily, I don't think they would be as happy with that as just, you know, an overcosted extra perfect guard essentially. Next we have the Royal Paladin Stride. When this unit attacks, cost counterblast 1, turn a G-Zone card face up, draw a number of cards equal to your number of rear guards, call the same numbers drawn to R. Then if you have 5 or more rear guards, get an imaginary gift force. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this card is that good. It's basically a mid-battle phase Agnos, so it creates like extra multi-attack that way, but it doesn't give power in any way. Yeah, it gives a force, I guess. I don't know, like, it's also like the best Royal Paladin deck in Premium right now is Jewel Knights, and they already do this under Crystal Luster, which is just a better card. So, I don't know, it's a bit just awkward timing, I guess, because we just got the Jewel Knight Crystal Luster interaction, which isn't tier 1 or anything, but it's still solid, and this is just doing that but worse. So I don't know, I'm not too convinced this is great. Maybe this turns blasters into like slightly better stuff with the extra force markers. You know, you can draw into more blaster blade / Flogel shenanigans, but that feels so outdated when again you could be crystal lustering instead. So yeah, I definitely don't think this is like the most impactful stride we've seen so far, but I'd be very interested to be wrong on this one. Then their G Guardian, however, I do like. It says auto when this unit is put on G, choose 1 of your grade 2 units, and until end of battle it gets 10,000 10,000. And auto, when this unit intercepts, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until end of battle. So G-Guardians in Royal Paladin have historically had the issue where you needed something on board, and so if your opponent had retire, you were very, very sad. However, if the payoff is a free perfect guard, I'm all for it. I do think this will be coming up pretty often, and I think any clan that basically got a free perfect guard that's actually good is gonna be probably pretty good. Like that, I'm happy with the G guard. Though of course they do have the issue of needing something on field, but most things don't really wipe board these days. It's pretty weird. Like you have more board wipes in Overdress than in Premium right now. Then we have this card where people were going crazy. Act on V and G zone once per turn. If this unit is on V, this cost can instead be paid with turn a card from your G zone phase up. So if you stride it, it's a turn card from G zone phase up, and if it's in your G zone, it's going to be a counterblast. If this card is phase up in your G zone, yeah, counterblast 1, put a rear guard into your soul. So you do go like minus from the rear guard. Choose one of your opponent's standing rear guards and retire it. If a card was retired, draw 1, countercharge 1. If a card was not retired, choose one of your opponent's vanguards and it gets power minus 10,000. So this is a lot of text and it's pretty hard to dissect here. Basically, you don't want to stride this, I feel. I don't think the stride, like when you stride it, it's very good. Basically, you flip this with one of your flippers, whether it's Overwhelm or Gridora, and then you try and go for the minus 10,000 on your opponent's board. So you basically get a Shirayuki skill on top of a Gridora turn. Now, people are going mad over this because Order Colony right now seems to be strong. And so this basically, you just give the Shirayuki turn on top of an Order Colony turn, which obviously is going to be strong. This then led people to say, okay, we should just ban Gridora. I'm not so sure that banning Gridora is necessarily the solution, because all you would be doing is just killing Mega Colony. Now, we have seen cards needing to be, wiped out, and with it wiping out their competitive edge, like with Katrina. So I'm not against that. We also saw it kind of with Murakumo, though now the Shirayuki deck is pretty good. So banning Gridora, okay, but you do wipe out Mega Colony as a clan in the process. I think if you just wipe out the whole order part of Mega Colony, it would also be fine, if you want to hit them, of course. Do note also that Order Colony does use a shit ton of CB, and so this plus Gridora would be 2 CB. If you're using Giraffa, it's 3 CB. People say they have high class Moth, sure, but like you don't always have it, and it's only a once per turn, so your 3 CB turn is into a 2 CB turn. That's still like not something you can really be spamming that much. Of course, this is impactful. Like, I'm not trying to downplay it, but I do think people are still right now maybe overreacting. I don't know. We see that happen often, right? In every online community. I just think that like if you kill Gridora, this stride is dog shit, and if you don't kill Gridora, this thing is like really strong. Then we have their G Guardian. When this unit is put on G, costs Soul Blast 1. This unit gets shield plus 30,000 until end of battle. Your opponent can choose any number of rear guards and rest them. For each unit rested by this effect, this unit gets shield minus 10,000. This is a very, 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 very good G Guardian. It's not a PG, alright, so it's not as good as some of the other ones, but it's so free. Now, when I say free, watch out, because Soul is a major issue for Mega Colony. Gridora uses Soul, Intrude Scissors uses Soul, Brilliant Blister uses Soul. A bunch of cards in this deck use Soul constantly. So you won't always have the Soul for this, but if you do, it's a huge shield, and most people don't want to be resting rear guards for this. They definitely don't want you to give like a Denial Griffin-esque skill on this card. So usually this thing is going to be 45,000 shield. Sometimes it might be 35. I do not see it going lower than that, and that makes it a very good G Guardian, especially because Mega Colony has dog shit G Guardians. Like all of them suck. No, stop. Don't try. No, they suck. Scarab Gas is hard to use and maxes out at 20k. Morphosion can be played around, and very often when you need it most, you won't have the full power, so you don't have any power. Relish Lady only works when your opponent's Vanguard attacks, and then you literally have like no power gain whatsoever, so you still have to draw like a bunch of extra shield. And then Grisford is just awkward in 99% of matchups and then does just nothing because it's only, again, Vanguard attack. So all of the G-Guards in Mega Colony suck dicks. This one is basically the first one that I think is actually solid. And now we get to today's strides. We have Bombing Giant, Gigantosaurus, Auto on V, Engorge. Then Auto on V, when this unit becomes engorged, cost Counterblast 1, turn a card in your G-Zone phase up. Choose the same number of your rear guards as the number of units retired for this card's engorge until end of turn. They get power plus 10,000 and Auto on R once per turn at the end of the battle attack. Cost Soul Blast 1, stand this unit. This card is incredible. This card is gonna restand withstand stuff, gonna give power to stuff. It's engorging. It has a Glock. Look at this Glock. Powerful stuff. Yeah, I think this stride is good. I think it's in the top 5 of strides revealed so far. Not in the top 3. There's some other cards I'm thinking of right now that this doesn't actually overshadow, but it's definitely up there, and it's a welcome addition. Because like the 2 best strides they have right now are the Vanguard Restanders. Well, one of them is basically like the better version of the other. And then they also have like Anger Blader Light. This card does a similar thing, but slightly differently. I think it's a good stride. And then we have the G Guardian. When put on G, cost retire any number of your rear guards. For each rear guard retired this way, this unit gets shield plus 10. And for each unit with an armed gauge retired this way, draw a card. That is basically going to be almost all of them, so this card is nuts. You're going to be like discarding one, you're minusing your field, but in the process you're like plussing so much to hand. That is really, really good. So that was all. Hope you found it interesting. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.